Hello, everybody. Welcome. I believe that the webinar has started here. So welcome to the Hoxhunt Nixu Cybersecurity webinar. Today we're going to be discussing cybersecurity awareness, and I'm your moderator, and I'm your senior content marketing manager at Hoxhunt. And I'm joined here by Ågren, also from Hoxhunt, and Marin Lindrod, a cybersecurity awareness consultant from Nixu, and Henri Heinonen, who's the CISO of Aktia. So just a little bit of a lead in here. So the topic today, as you know, is how to make cybersecurity awareness a proactive part of your organization. And we'll be talking together about that for about 45 minutes, and we'll leave the last 10 minutes for questions. So we encourage you to leave questions, and to do so, please look towards the bottom right of the GoToWebinar control panel, and where it says questions next to the arrow, just start typing questions there, and we'll look at those as they come in, and then we'll answer those at the end of the webinar. So, okay, I guess to begin with, please, if we could just go around the our roundtable here, and if everybody could just introduce yourself, who you are, who you work for, and what you do there. And I guess we'll start with Marianne.
Yes, hi everyone, I'm Marin Lindrod, and I work here at Nixu as Cybersecurity Awareness Consultant, and currently I'm in Helsinki.
Hello everyone.
Maybe, yeah, go ahead, Alice. Yeah.
Just barge in there.
Yeah, working with cybersecurity exercises and trainings mostly. Yeah, go ahead, Alice.
Sorry about that. I'm Swedish, so I need to barge in whenever. Hello, everyone. My name is Alice. I work for Hoxhunt. We are a cybersecurity training firm from Finland, and we're focusing mainly on the training the employees and organizations to make it a bit more fun and a bit more automated as well, to make it a bit more easy for both the IT security team to actually deal with the program, but also for the employees to participate in as well. I'm sitting in London, but it's a Finnish company. So yeah, hello everyone.
Great, thanks. And Henri.
Yeah, thank you. My name is Henri Heinonen, and I'm the Chief Information Security Officer in Aktia Bank. Aktia is a small but the fourth biggest bank in Finland, and actually, I've been working there like 15 years, so quite a long journey, and been as a CISO from the end of 2018, and really excited to be here to be able to talk with you guys.
Well, that's great. We're excited to talk to you too, Henri. And so here we all are, a CISO, a security consultant, and a security vendor, all walk into a room. Sounds like the setup for a joke. I think traditionally people have said that security is not a joking matter, but I don't know, is that true? Does it have to be like such a grim topic? So I guess we'll find that out a little bit today as well as we talk about security awareness. So, and to kick off, Henri, let's just kick this over to you. So here we are, and let's start from the beginning. Like, what is cybersecurity awareness and why is it important?
Yeah, that's a good question. From my point of view, there is like two key points with the awareness programs and cybersecurity awareness. First one is that everybody understands what is their role in the organization regarding cybersecurity, because cybersecurity is not just something that belongs to CISO office or IT information security people. It's something that belongs to everybody, from the top management, from the board to the people actually doing the work. So the first key point is that everybody knows what is the role and responsibilities of them in the day-to-day work. And the second key point is that everybody has the required capabilities to act in that role. So that means different things for example, developers in the IT side, or the customer service people in the customer interfaces. So these are the two main topics that are important to me when I'm thinking about awareness program and how to build it and how to run it. But of course, would like to hear other opinions from the consultant side or from the Hoxhunt side. What do you think?
I think you covered it pretty well. What do you think, Alice?
Yeah, I cannot do anything but to agree to that. I think it's such a topic that can be quite daunting to a lot of people. So to have some kind of program in place that is a bit more to kind of take off that edge of it, because a lot of people, like in organizations, especially the people who aren't in IT, it is a topic that is usually not something that you're interested in. So to make that a bit more interesting, I think is a lot about the trust as well. You need to be able to trust the person that is leading it, so the CISO. So if you don't have that trust, then how are you going to ask those questions and how are you going to then approach them? So I think that is, yeah, it's just to build on top of that.
Yeah, and I think that the cybersecurity, it might be like quite scary thing. It's something that you see in the movies and TV series, and like IT guys might even know what what is the reality with cybersecurity. But then we have the people that are not working in IT or in security, and for those people, awareness is like bringing it down to earth and making them understand that it's just like the choices you make in the daily basis. It's not scary stuff. We all should have the basic skills and basic knowledge, and then of course there are like role-based things that you have to build on top of that, but there should be some sort of like baseline that covers the whole organization so that everybody knows what to do.
Yeah, and here at Nixu, we like to use the slogan that cybersecurity is everybody's responsibility. So that's maybe a good slogan for various programs also.
I also think it's not just about the organization and protecting the organization, it's actually the people, so the employees. They actually bring it home and then they can support or they can protect their family as well. So it kind of goes hand in hand as to like if they know what they're supposed to be doing in certain situations, or if they just, yeah, if they have that kind of insight, then they can bring that home and protect their family as well, and their extended family for that matter. It's all about knowledge is power, right?
Yeah, and actually that one of our like key points in Cybersecurity Month this year in Aktia. We had this like the first week of the Cybersecurity Month. It was all about like bringing all those things that you have learned in 2 years in Aktia into your family and into your extended family, because we have been learning how to recognize all these like phishing emails with Hoxhunt and also other types of social engineering and stuff like that. So we encourage people to talk about these things with the family and making sure that like the multi-factor authentication and something like that is already taken into use by the individuals with the personal like digital world, but also within the family with the kids, with the spouses, and perhaps even the grandparents and stuff like that. So in that sense, it's like Ali said, it's not just what happens within the organizations, but also how do you push that good information onwards so that the whole society actually is more aware of cyber threats and the necessary skills.
Yeah, a lot of great stuff there that we're going to build on too throughout this talk. And I love what you just said there, Henri, about the fact that by empowering people with these skills, it's not just a workplace thing. It's something they can take home with them. It's something that by making them stronger cybersecurity resilient as individuals at a company, it's something that they are also going to be just stronger individuals beyond the workplace setting. And Alice, I want to build on something you said too about really well articulated about working with CISOs and how you establish that trust. I guess really stepping back, looking at this is that Henri, you're sitting in a room with a vendor and a consultant, and I'm wondering why you talk to people like us. Why is it that a CISO doesn't just do it all themselves? And so why do you need to talk to a consultant? Why do most CISOs, or I think all CISOs, need to work with other types of people to get the design down there, execute the design of a cybersecurity system like this? So
yeah,
why are you talking to us today?
Yeah, I think it's important to have like fresh ideas from other organizations and good thing with consultants and vendors is that they see a lot of different kind of like customers and organizations. They do see what kind of like tricks work in what kind of circumstances. So if we would be looking just inside from our organization, we wouldn't get like any new ideas, new fresh thoughts and stuff like that. We would be like living in our small little bubble and thinking that we are doing great work. So in that sense, and this doesn't just like cover awareness programs or cybersecurity. Of course, you want to have the best expertise in the beginning when you are like planning to doing something, but also when you are executing things. And my team is actually quite small, and I have only 2 hands. So in that sense, also I do need like people actually executing the awareness program. But of course, there are like companies where you have like more people doing the things internally. But there also, I do think that vendors and consultants, they bring something new to the table when you are planning and doing stuff, because they do see a lot of the different kind of like implementations.
I actually have a great story with that as well. So there was this one CISO that I was talking to, and the reason that he was talking to me was because he had to learn how to code HTML because he needed to create a landing page for his simulations that he was sending out once a month. But so he spent a week preparing this, and at the end of the week he tested it and it actually didn't work. So he just wasted an entire week. I actually sent it out to the users as well, but it didn't work once he actually sent it out. So I think that goes really well with what you said, with you only have 2 hands and you can't do it all. So in these kind of topics where we have kind of the tested best practices, we know kind of how to make it the best kind of way, depending on what it is that you want to achieve, obviously. But there's nothing wrong in having help, and you're not supposed to be able to do it all. So I think relying on other people, and you can trust other people as well to do a good job, is quite critical as well, to be able to bring it all together.
Yeah, and I'm kind of a do-it-yourself man, so it's sometimes like hard to let go, but it's also like making active choices that what are the battles that I have to fight and what is something that I can like give out, and usually that usually helps a lot. So in that sense, even though you are like Renaissance man and do all from the scratch and have this like some sort of idea that everything that you do is going to be the best one in the industry, it necessarily isn't that one. You are going to waste all the evenings and also nights, and you should be able to sleep and recover and stuff like that. So use experts. They have like all the knowledge and know how to make things work. So don't make your life miserable, fellow CISOs over there.
And Marianne from the consultancy, that was great. Great story, Alice, and thanks for that, Henri. Marianne, do you have anything you want to add to that about when CISOs come to work with you at Nixu? What are some of the things that they really just don't have enough hands to do, that they can use some help from a consultant?
Yeah, I think when CISOs have small teams, they can use us like sparring partners. We can throw ideas, and also they can discuss about their work with someone, and we can help them. And it doesn't have to be that we design everything, but we can do it together. So I think that's a good thing.
Right. So we're 15 minutes in so far, and let's really dive into awareness now. So Henri, what are we really talking about with awareness? Is that the end goal? Are we just trying to make people aware?
No, that's not the end goal. I think the awareness program, it's just a tool. From my point of view, what we want to achieve is actually like a security culture. Make sure that, like I said earlier, everybody knows their role and have the necessary capabilities. But the end goal is to like build, if it's not there yet, build a security culture where people are aware of things, they are capable to also like notice if there are places for development and stuff like that, and so that they bring out these ideas, so that they are like they feel empowered to be able to be part of like developing the information security in the company. And so information security, it shouldn't be like Inquisition from the Spain. So if there is if somebody like makes a mistake, and everybody's making mistakes, I'm making mistakes, and also Makke in our company, who has been working with computers like 37 years, eventually he will make a mistake someday, and at that point there should be like this culture of so that the people are empowered, that they can raise their hand and say that, hey, I made a mess. CISO office, can you please come here and help us? And we will go there and we will help them, and we will not like punish them or shame them or anything like that, because we are into this together. So the culture needs to be open. It should be encouraging people to be involved.
That was very well said, really well articulated. So point being, we're trying to create a culture through awareness around this. Maybe Alice, we'll go to you on this. What are some things, so maybe you could describe a little bit about like what Hoxhunt actually does and how Hoxhunt would, well, first of all, it might be worth mentioning that I think, Henri, do you use this Aktia and you use Hoxhunt, is that right?
Yep, we do.
Okay, so maybe we could talk a little bit about Hoxhunt as far as being, are we more on the side of the spectrum of Spanish Inquisition, or is it something else? Is it more about a little lighthearted, a little bit more about building a more positive culture? And what do the CISOs who you work with say about using a tool like Hoxhunt?
Yeah, so just to kind of start off, so Hoxhunt is essentially teaching the employees how to identify and report malicious emails by sending out simulations that are based on the individual. So it'll be adapted to their their knowledge level, and they have their own learning path as well. So it's pretty much as if they would have their own tutor when it comes to phishing. So we really try to do the whole employee first kind of thing, because at the end of the day, it's employee first, or people first, really. And that's what Hoxhunt does, that we focus on the individual user, but we also make it easier for CISOs to use our solution because it's fully automated. So one thing I just want to start off with saying, that kind of what I said with Hoxhunt, is obviously we're not all the same. So I don't believe that a training program should be like that, because at the end of the day, if you were sitting like back in math class and you were all given a test, the same test, and you have 50% fail, 50% succeed. Now, the 50% who failed, they might not have the best thoughts around math, and they might not want to continue to train or learn more about math, but they are the ones that are going to be punished for it. So because they have to do another test because they failed. Whereas the 50% who succeeded, they might love math, and all they want to do is math, but they don't actually get anything additional because they succeeded. And that's kind of the old way of thinking when it's like learning by failure. So we are trying to move away from that. So the CISOs that I talk to are they want to do it differently. They want to do it learning by doing, hands-on, make it more fun, engaging, so they actually want to participate and include all of them. So even though you might have failed, missed, or succeeded a simulation, you can still build on top of what you've already been taught and become more advanced. So you will be more equipped as well for when there are more sophisticated attacks that come into the organization. And then the CISOs also get more insight into what actually happens in the organization. So once the people start reporting, as they will when they're being trained to report malicious emails, so they will be reporting more malicious emails. So that means also that the CISOs will have that insight as to what kind of attacks that come to the organization. So it's also easier for them to prevent if someone's reporting something, and they can then make sure that that doesn't reach the wider organization. So yeah, it's a more fun, engaging way, and that's really the kind of the way that we're heading now, with the more hands-on, you're learning by doing. And yeah, again, I think I mentioned it before with the trust. I think if you have a more fun or engaging or a bit more inclusive training, that also prompts the user or the employee to want to, well, feel the need that they can actually talk to their CISO or ask questions, and therefore also they will start reporting more. So you get that insight, but they do need to trust your CISO for that to be able to happen. So that's kind of, I feel like I've gone around in circles here, but that's kind of the approach that the CISOs that I talk to are kind of heading towards, but also the kind of activation level. So you can have onboarded users, but you also need to have active users, because at the end of the day, you're just looking at a onboarding sheet and you say, okay, yeah, there's quite a few people that are onboarded there, but how many are actually active in the training? Because that's where they need to be for you to be able to teach them about how to react when they're faced in different situations.
Yeah,
go ahead.
sorry. Yeah, my experience is also that this like positive enhancement and hands-on training and approaching these things positively, not saying that no, don't do that. That's not okay. That works better that way. And changing human behavior is really slow, and it's a good idea to proceed step by step and maybe create some kind of a long-term plan or roadmap on how to grow security awareness like gradually. And Hoxhunt is a good tool to do that, I think.
Yeah, and I think it's about communication when you are taking this kind of tool into use. It's how you communicate it to the organization. And one point that I thought I could mention is that we are like telling our people that Hoxhunt is the safe environment to try. It's safe to fail there. So don't mind if you don't get it right. That's the place where you should be able to click and do stuff like that, and you will learn eventually. It's like more harmful if you try to learn in production, if you know what I mean. So it's safe place, and also we have been using it as a little competition. So every year we are rewarding the 3 best ones who have been active into the training, and they get some nice giveaways, and there is this, we call it Security Working Cafe virtual event where we give out these presents, and the people are also able to tell how they feel about the program and the training and the Hoxhunt. And we are also using the Hoxhunt report button to report to actual phishing emails. And I think last year we did receive 5 actual phishing targeted to our organization. So those alone paid the all Hoxhunt fees back, because we were able to react immediately. So that is something that you should also consider. It's not just learning and playing, but also having reports of the actual phishing emails that your organization will have.
Really good point. And thanks for, we have a joke for the webinar viewers here about what happens when you have a Swede, an American, and 2 Finns trying to deal with a pause in a conversation. It can get kind of, people have different understandings of what an appropriate pause in the conversation is. Henri, that you brought up now a point that I think the viewers really want to get into a little bit is about the actual behavior modeling, as I believe Marianne is comfortable discussing that, and about the actual change, behavior change, about what's the actual effect of an awareness program on the employees behaving in a positive way towards cybersecurity, reducing risk. So maybe we could talk about this now. So how are some ways that we actually are able to communicate the progress of a program? Henri, you brought up the five reported threats. That sounds like a pretty good endpoint. Maybe Marianne, I know you have expertise in this. Maybe you want to discuss a little bit about how we identify and communicate the risk metrics, so management, and so the company can see progress in a program?
Yeah, everything cannot be reached at once. So it's good to have like realistic goals that can be monitored when you start an awareness program. And what is measured must also be relevant to companies' security or awareness goals in general. And I think that measuring awareness as well as communication is a bit tricky. So it's important that this measuring is both long-term and also well-planned. And for example, it's a good idea to measure general level of awareness before starting anything, before starting any activities. And this can be done via employee surveys, for example. And once this baseline is measured, the development of awareness can be monitored by repeating these surveys regularly. So the survey can test knowledge about cybersecurity issues, but also it can be asked what has been learned or what the staff thinks about awareness activities in general. And this again helps to develop the awareness activities. And measurements can also be made by monitoring whether behavior is changing. For example, if security awareness communication emphasizes the importance of updating equipment and also actively reminds about it, it is possible to monitor equipment upgrade numbers and see if awareness communication has had an effect. And for example, once we arranged this webinar and we warned about the dangers of not updating your phone. And after this webinar, the company we arranged for could see the rise in numbers of updated phones. So we could see that it actually worked the way we presented this matter.
And Henri, how about, so thanks, Marianne. That's a really clear metric there. What are some ways that you like to communicate risk and progress, awareness and progress towards learning? What are some ways that you like to communicate that to management or across the organization? Is there a difference? How do you like to communicate the progress of improved awareness?
Yeah, it's like Marianne said, that you should like pick up measurements or key performance indicators that are like that suit your circumstances and your environment. And I think that those should be also reviewed regularly. So if there's a change of like business strategy or the ID strategy or some other changes in the internal or external like environments, then you should adapt your goals regarding to those. And when your goals are changing, then you need to change your measurements as well. But and also like trying to keep those key KPIs and measurements as simple as possible. Don't try to over-engineer it. So it might be something as simple as like measuring how many security incident or security event reports you receive. So if earlier you didn't receive any, it doesn't mean that your company is safe and there are like no cybersecurity risks. It means that there is no culture for reporting these kind of things. So when the awareness program is going on and people are getting more aware, probably you will see a rise of those numbers. And that is actually something that you need to communicate to the top management and on board level also. They might be scared, saying that, oh my God, we do have incidents that, what are you doing? You're doing everything wrong. No, we are making a culture where we like notice these kind of things and we report those. So then we can react and we know what is happening in the organization. So it might be like simple as that. And usually with the awareness program, they are like quite soft measurements, as Marianne said. And I think that like the employee survey is really one of the key things. And of course, you need to have the baseline. So you have to have it before you do any activities. So you know what the organization, what the level is on the beginning, and then do it regularly, whether it's like every 6 months or once a year. but in the beginning you need to plan your questions so that you don't have to need to change those, because you want to keep the measurement steady so that you have like relevant data with you. But of course, if we are like watching it through what the Hoxhunt offers, of course there's the activity rate, so how many employees are actually using, not just onboarded but actually using, and it's up to your communication and at what is the tone of your communication, how you like engage people into that. And I think the active users in Aktia is quite high. It's something like 75% or something like that. So we are doing really good, and that's because of it's part of our overall awareness program, and we really try to make the communication like fun. Actually, this is like serious matter, but it doesn't mean that we couldn't be or couldn't like have fun around it. So we are trying to engage people, and of course, yeah, there is the active users in the training and simulation, and of course the fail rate. That is something you should be like taking or following. And I don't want to brag here, but I think with the like not the spear phishing ones that we are evilly planning ourselves with help of Hoxhunt, but like the basic training, I think our fail rate it's something like 2 to 4%, and I think that's one of the top organizations in Europe. So we are doing well, but I don't know. Do you have, Alice, any ideas on this matter?
Yeah, I mean, I like everything that you just said there. One thing as well is in the report that you can actually see the activity level in the training. So not just the activity level in the whole program, but also like the actual micro training moment. And that's what I really like about, well, the kind of statistics that we can provide as well. And I think that is it's very unique in one way, because it's, like I said, it's giving you an overall view. You can kind of dig into the kind of statistics that you look into and measure the KPIs based on that. So it's not just about the click rate anymore. There is so much more that you can measure, and so much more you should be measuring as well, with the engagement activity level, the activity in the training, and just seeing how, well, alongside the failure rate, obviously. Also well done on the failure rate. That's some really good numbers that you have there. But yeah, it's all about the reducing the risk and how you can do that as a whole, really. And that's, yeah, a lot with what the people I talk to, they're focused on having not just the click rate anymore. It's a whole variety of what they want to be able to measure.
Yeah, and one thing that we have been talking with you guys in Hoxhunt is like improving the like the benchmarking, because we would like to see that how do we compare with other companies in Europe in financial sector. So some sort of like industry specific benchmarking data would be really nice, because that is of course something that the board of directors or the management committee are like asking, because they don't want us to like overdo things. Please don't do too well, kind of. But also it would be like nice to brag. I say that, hey, we are over here, and the industry like mean is somewhere else. So we are doing really great, and we are safe side with this one. But these are like the improvements that we would like to see in the future in the platform.
Oh,
well.
it is coming.
Yes, we are waiting for it.
I won't say more.
I don't blame you for wanting to see those improvements, Henri, because you guys are going to look really good. 75% engagement rate is awesome for a company your size and your industry, and that 2 to 4% failure rate is really good. Maybe you can describe to people also what that means, like an engagement rate and a failure rate. Maybe Alice, you could just describe that a little bit. Like, what are these simulations and an actual engagement rate and a fail rate of that? What does that mean?
So when it comes to, obviously there are like quite a few ways of measuring, but the onboarding rate is how many people are participating in the training, but then, or they have signed up to participate in the training. But then we have the engagement of actually, you're actually doing something in the training. So you're not just there. You're not just taking a seat. You're actually actively engaging in the training. And then obviously we have the step further, that's how many people are participating in not only the simulations that are sent out, but the actual micro training moments. So you get all of that overview, so you can see how many percentage, even though they might have missed, failed, or succeeded, they still participate and they still complete the micro training, because at the end of the day, that's where we need them to be, so that we can teach them what they might have failed or missed, or what they succeeded in spotting. And then to build on top of that, so they are more equipped for the more sophisticated attacks that come in, both simulations, but also real threats that come into the organization. We also have this new spicy mode that I don't know if you've seen yet, Henri, but it's just taking it up a notch to make it a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, and as I said, we have been like implementing with you guys these sphere phishing simulations, which have been really, really, really tricky. Not going to go into details here, but I think our failure rate with those is something between like 14 and 16%. That's still like really good when you compare it to the complexity of the actual simulation. So, but they like generate a lot of conversations and discussions. So Hoxhunt is like one great way to keep the awareness discussion ongoing. But of course, when we like watch the whole awareness program, Hoxhunt is just like one part. There's a lot of other activities as well going on, and but this has been the one of the activities that is like really visible to the people. And as I said, it really generates a lot of discussions, and I really anxiously wait that the COVID will be over and there will be like these meetings once again, because usually when I enter the room, there is somebody who wants to complain, or they have like failed the training and feel that they were tricked and it was too naughty or something like that. So that leads to the like more broad discussions and stuff like that. So it's a nice like icebreaker between cybersecurity and the other parts of the organization.
I'm wondering, Henri, usually when I've spoken with CISOs before who have such an exemplary engagement rate, which is indicative of a real strongly anchored cybersecurity culture across the company, I'm wondering if there was something with the leadership buy-in that helped that. What are some of the factors you think really was propelling this kind of a strong security culture around awareness?
Yeah, we really like put an effort on launching this training. So it meant like using a lot of different channels to communicate that what we are trying to achieve with this one, and what is the purpose of this, and really making sure that this is something that the cybersecurity team is just trying to be like annoying and making people fail. The communication was like that. This is fun. This is a safe place where you can learn, and this will improve our overall like security in the company. But of course, when working on bank, there is like everybody knows the banking secrecy. So they know that they are working in critical infrastructure. So that is like really solid base where you can build on. But the tone of the communication and also the tools that we used, it was not just like Teams messages and intro messages and emails. It was also making these really clumsy, like low-level videos where me and my team were explaining that why this is great, and had this printed report, this email, like A4 papers. So it was like we tried to use all the tricks, all the new tricks, and of course had a lot of help from Hoxhunt. You guys had a great templates for the communication, but of course we couldn't use those as just such. We had to like make them taste and feel like Aktia, and that's like important thing. When you have like material coming from consultants or vendors, use them, but make them look and feel like your organization, so that the tone of the message is something that your organization actually speaks. So that in that way you can like have great results. And as I said, use like laughter and make it fun and humorous and stuff like that. This is serious matter, but we can, if we want to have like cultural change or build up the culture, then there has to be some like level of fun. This is not compliance driven. We are getting the compliance tick in the box, but we are doing it so that we actually have some sort of like that we are affecting the way people are behaving.
That's a great point. And I want to remind the audience, so we have 4 more minutes now. So if you do want to ask a question, type like the wind, and we'll try and get that asked here. But given that we have these last few minutes here, Marianne, maybe you could talk a bit about communications, and if there is something you want to build on to what Henri just said and what Alice has said about being able to communicate these different, what's important to communicate and to whom, would you say?
Sorry, can you repeat? What's important?
What's important to communicate? What are the things that really have an impact on building up the culture, on getting executive buy-in? What do you want to communicate, and how would you recommend doing that?
Yeah, when creating an awareness program, it's important at first to get leadership sponsorship so that they will help you to do your work and enhance the awareness. And when the awareness program goes forward, the board is usually interested that they get value for their money. So it's important that you can show them something that it's actually working, that something has happened, and that's why it's important to measure always, as we talked before. So my advice when creating and communicating an awareness program is that plan really well at first, and then proceed step by step, and then communicate your results, what has happened, and interact with stakeholders, and then repeat. So it's not just one-time thing that you do, but you have to always plan again and develop the program as it goes forward.
Then they can also see like the improvement over time as well, so they have something to measure by and to compare to. So I agree with that. I think it's very important to be able to communicate that and to have something to support you in that as well.
Yeah, and because the communication has been mentioned so many times, so from my point of view, when we were like selecting partners with our awareness program, we didn't like we didn't want to take just like cybersecurity experts with us. We wanted to have like communication and marketing experts, and of course try to involve our internal communication and marketing as much as possible. But they are like quite busy with their own activities. So actually we just try to seek the boundaries and like the communication and marketing framework from there. And then we were able to quite freely work in that framework with the selected partner. But in that sense, the cybersecurity subject matter experts are able to fill in the gaps. But I think it's really important that one planning and running the activities really has strong background on marketing or communication, or presumably like both, because that way you are able to figure out what are your main messages and what are the means to deliver those to the audience, and also how to make the message relevant to different type of audiences based on the stakeholders, like the key stakeholders that you have.
Yeah, so we've hit our time now, but I love that last point, Henri. I think it's a really funny thing how cybersecurity affects everybody, and yet it still has this kind of somewhat siloed mentality where IT is considered to be the people who have to be the kings of the castle on security. And yet you have these whole divisions like marketing and HR, whose part of their expertise is communication. And I think that that's a really great point, that it's okay to reach across the aisle and ask for some help on the communication aspect, because it's so critical. So thanks for bringing that up here. Folks, that was our time. And I really appreciate this time with you. I think we all learned a lot. This was really a special chance for people to see the whole three dimensions of this awareness journey between the CISO, the vendor, and the consultant, and how people can work together well, develop a strong relationship that has, measurable results and benefits. So thanks, everybody, and thank you to all our viewers.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Happy Tuesday.